Now, finally, 5 years into this goddamn Dr. Tony show, we get the great Nick Gillespie. He's hosted The Reason Interview and The Reason Round Table. Both are podcasts that I subscribe to. Editor-at-large at Reason Magazine, co-author with some fuckface named Matt Welsh, never heard of the very prophetic Declaration of Independence. You've seen him in the New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, Los Angeles Times. Too many publications to count. Welcome, Nick. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm sorry. I am apologetic mostly. I got on the wrong subway. I got started late. Got
You're
on the
right
wrong
on time.
subway. Yeah.
Oh, no, you're fine.
No, we usually tell 12.
I also hit a bank job on the way here, so if the sirens start coming, I'm going to have to take off pretty
I'll tell you what, this is
We're here the whole time.
This is a good excuse getaway. Like, oh no, escaping the whole time. I was hoping to meet your son. I thought he was going to come.
He is in the green room.
Oh, gotcha,
nice.
gotcha. One of them shy types. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We have, this might have been before your time when she was on, but you have these Reason Speakeasies coming up, and you've got an interesting one coming up. And she was on our show.
Yeah.
I think when I was still doing this by myself, the good old days. Caitlin Bailey. Does that sound familiar?
Not sure.
She is a very pro-sex. She's not currently a sex worker, is she?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure. I don't want to do, but she was a sex worker,
Okay.
comedian, and writes about it all the time and stuff like that. As podcast.
She's got a group called Old Pros, P-R-O-S, like the oldest profession, which is a sex worker rights group. That works to decriminalize and destigmatize sex work. So, Bill, you don't have to feel so bad about yourself either.
It doesn't count as sex work if I do it for free.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a very bad negotiator.
You do it as like it's a gift, and then maybe people give you something afterwards.
You also got to put in the work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is true.
Now you're an out-of-work sex worker.
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
true.
living at the Port Authority is a lot different than just doing tricks at the Port Authority.
Yeah. But in any case, we're doing an event with her. She also has a great one-woman show that's about 10,000 years of prostitution, sexual freedom, and female emancipation called Whore's Eye View. We're doing an event with her. If you go to reason.com/events, you'll find tickets on December 1st, Thursday, a week from Thursday, this Thursday. I'm going to be doing a live interview with her. Anything can happen. And
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm going. I can't wait.
for $10, you get beer, wine, soda, appetizers, and wonderful conversation.
Wow.
Learn all about the
What a
whoring.
deal. You know, I am watching Game of Thrones for the first time. And I know it's not
Do we have the do we have the
historical.
graphic?
It's a fictional world, but
telling you that.
I mean the prostitution. It's rampant.
Yeah.
I just thought it was all incest all the time, but there's a lot of whoring.
You know, sometimes your sister just doesn't do it for you.
That's right, yeah.
That's another one. She's very late to the game in all these things. Like she saw The Sopranos.
Oh, yeah.
Wire, all of those I watched during the
Have
pandemic.
you seen Sound of Music?
I have seen Sound of Music.
Okay.
Interesting that you went from The Wire to Sound of Music.
I think the Sound of Music is like the Wire of the Anschluss. Yeah.
How so?
I have
write
so
that.
many questions about the Sound of Music because I was raised Catholic, so we saw the Sound of
Really?
Music all the time.
Oh yeah.
But it's like the first thing is, why were the Nazis so bent on getting a captain, like an admiral or a boat commander in the Austrian Navy? Like Austria is a landlocked country.
Yeah.
How good could he be? You knew the Nazis were losing, right then.
That's fucking
Well, and you know, as a child, as a musical theater child,
Oh, yeah.
watching that, I actually think my parents would often stop the movie
Oh, yeah.
right after the talent show.
Yeah.
Or I just lost interest as soon as
Yeah.
it got to
It's
like
super
the
long.
political
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, my mom's favorite movie. It's so long.
Because
It
for
is,
me, it was more just like I'm learning my do re mi's,
Yeah.
and then I want to be 16 going on 17 because that
Yeah.
boy there is real cute. Like that was all I
yeah,
took
yeah.
from this musical.
Yeah.
I just like the fact
I don't know. He's a messenger, right?
she aims low.
Yeah.
She aims very low.
He's
I date the
an
help.
errand boy sent by clerks to collect a grocery bill.
I was just upset that my mom couldn't make cool-looking clothes out of curtains for me.
Yeah.
We had to.
That's a whole thing, though, right? In like well, I mean, that came out after World War II, but the whole thing in like Gone with the Wind, doesn't she also make a dress out of drapes or something? And like,
I know the
people are
famous
constantly
Carol Burnett
redoing. Yeah.
So I know that reference, but I'm one of those. There's all those.
You've never seen Gone with the Wind?
I've never seen Gone with the Wind, and again, it's like 5 hours, 4 hours.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah,
an
that's
intermission.
really long. Yeah.
I saw it in high school. It was one of my friend's favorite movies.
Yeah.
If I saw it, I mean, we were just hanging out. I don't remember much of it at all.
All of your boyfriends were gay in high school, so you weren't making out. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, certainly not.
And of course, he picked Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
I loved talk about the wardrobe a lot, didn't you?
Yeah. That also has the the cautionary tale of like don't go horseback riding when you're pregnant. Spoiler alert. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Was that happen in the movie?
Yeah.
Really? That seems very kind of salacious for a movie back then.
Damn. Yeah. That's a whole other story. But the older movies are much saucier than we think because we're not hip to the way that they coded things.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, and then actually, if you go back further, because that's like 39 or 40, and if you go back to pre-1935, like from 30 to 35, what's considered the pre-code before the Hollywood Code came in, the movies are fucking dirty and smutty as hell. I mean, it's kind of great.
Scenes, everything, like very black and white. Not even talkies half the time. Like the Tarzan movie, she was naked, topless
Was
or something.
this still like during like the studio contract?
Oh yeah. And it's just then they ran into some trouble, so they created or had it kind of forced on them, created the Hollywood Code, and they cleaned things up. But if you look at, you can just Google pre-code Hollywood, and there's like really interesting movies. And then a lot of this stuff just goes underground. So like if you know where to look, like, Hollywood movies from the 30s, 40s, and 50s are filled with gay people. They're filled with, other types of weirdness and oddness and dirtiness. But you just have to know the language. And then it's kind of interesting.
I actually recommended. And of course, I've forgotten half of what was in it, but it was really good. And it was basically about that. It's a documentary. I think it was. I recommended it to you. It was either on HBO or Netflix. And it's essentially just the sex in movies and the when the code thing was established. Yeah. Was that the same guy that was the anti-porn crusader, or was that separate?
It's different.
Because he at one point had the biggest collection of porn.
Okay, here we go. We got a clip of something. Oh, that was my experience at Miss USA.
Yeah, it really was a cattle call. The road to ruin. I wonder if they were allowed to do it if it was a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
Kind of like a very special episode of 90210.
That definitely happened. Like once the code was in place, like a woman, if she got divorced, it had to end badly. If you had premarital sex, had to end badly. If you like insulted a cop, had to end badly.
And they're doing that again with regards to the rating system.
Yeah.
But I just last night I should plug it, Gutting the Sacred Cow for Teen Wolf. Now, Teen Wolf was a PG movie.
Yeah.
And that was still in the brief period in the 80s where it was PG, but they're surfing on top of a car.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now they look at it as what would kids do if they watch that.
People are smoking, that's
he uses as he uses his Teen Wolf powers to find Styles weed.
Yeah.
And there's a party where lots of...
I don't think Teen Wolf is Michael J. Fox, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then Teen Wolf 2 is Jason Bateman.
Wonderful story.
Who is the brother of his Michael J. Fox's TV sister, Justine Bateman, who I have to recommend in the fantastic summer movie Satisfaction.
Yes, Liam Neeson.
Yeah, Liam Neeson as a Brian Wilson, Phil Spector type genius. Yeah. Music producer discovers a band that includes an incredibly foul-mouthed Julia Roberts as the super hippie bassist. She's so hippie, she's always wearing a sarong on the beach.
Yes.
She starved herself, and a year later is in Pretty Woman, but it's
a thicker Julia Roberts.
And it is great.
Yeah.
Whenever you hear
Liam
Neeson talking about, like, I don't want to do movies with CGI or stupid movies, and the minute he starts bitching and moaning about special effects, I go back to him being in Satisfaction, which is, it's better. He's more real than he is as Oscar Schindler.
I remember watching that when it came out because that was Justine Bateman at peak Justine Bateman. She was the best. And Even as a young Bill, being very kind of raising my eyebrow at the May-December aspect of her and Liam Neeson, who Liam Neeson could not have been that
Such a
old.
moralist.
I really, and I'm normally not. Quite the opposite. I mean, you know what I do at the Port Authority.
Yeah, sure.
But
I read the New York Post police blotter, Bill. Yeah, I know.
I got to get better at this gig. But he couldn't have been that old at the time. But he was far older. At least it looked. Maybe it was just the accent. And he's got a large head.
It's also different. You know, when you're 15, the difference between, say, like 18 and 30 is gigantic. By the time you're 25, the difference between like 30 and 50 is starting to narrow. It's all...
If you're a freshman and a senior even talks to you, that is just, you're hearing a choir. Because why would this much older fossil of a cool guy want to talk to you?
Oh, yeah.
I think you probably had a different experience of being an attractive person and a woman, whereas the rest of us...
Well, she did have the back brace.
Did wear a back brace.
Yeah.
So.
Really? Yeah. Was that a choice, or is that what did your parents say? You can go into showbiz, but you got to wear a back brace.
Couldn't find a chastity belt, my son.
Yeah,
So they were like, I guess it's the back brace,
yeah,
and it
that's
got the job done.
Yeah, all right.
I hate the fact that I actually feel empathy for you whenever we go back to little Joanne and her metal trap.
What was it? Scoliosis? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had a 31-degree curvature, so 4 more degrees I would have needed surgery. So they wanted to.
So they just like stretch you out.
Well, as you grow, it prevents your spine from getting more crooked. So it kind
And is scoliosis? Is it side to side or is it back to front?
It varies. It depends on the type that a person has, but mine was side to side. So one hip higher than the other, one shoulder higher than the other. But for some people, it's like you curve forward.
Yeah.
You starred in an all-female Richard III.
Here is a very real picture of me in high school. Once again, this is not Photoshop.
That is our artist in residence, Matt Smith, imagineered what she must have looked like as a Jersey girl in high school.
Your motto was "Let the market decide."
And a book that she didn't actually write.
Is that real or is that made up?
I so wish it was real.
That is fake.
Okay.
That's not real.
What about the neck brace, though?
No, so it didn't go all the way up. It just went right below my sternum.
Yeah.
But this is my book. I can't believe I got to send you a copy.
Okay.
No, there's no actual book.
What do you mean? No.
I love this.
It's just a graphic.
Yeah.
There's a book and there's a feature film starring Jennifer Lawrence as well.
Yes, that is
Great.
true.
Oh, that
Equally
looks
as
really
real.
good.
Bradley Cooper, as you can see in the background, is played by me.
Yeah.
He's playing me. I like that.
It's just we had to do a reprint because we sold out so quickly. So as soon as we get more printed, I'll be sure to send you your copy.
Where did you grow up in New Jersey?
You're from Monmouth County as well?
Yes, I am, from Middletown.
Freehold.
Oh, I hate Freehold. Freehold is Springsteen's hometown,
That's right.
and
She always says that.
Dad knows his aunt.
I went to Modern Day High School, which has blissfully been put out of business, a Catholic high school, and we would travel to Freehold as well as Freehold Township to get beaten in soccer by double digits, which is like losing like 100-0 in football. We would get beat 11, 12 to nothing. Yeah.
Well, I guess you guys were good at soccer. There you go.
That's right. I did not contribute to the
Were you the
athletics in
Colonials or the Volunteers, something like that,
so
or the
Freehold-
Minutemen, maybe?
It was Freehold Borough, I believe, was the Colonials.
Yeah.
Freehold Township, I think, was the Patriots.
Yeah.
I went to Howell High School for the
Oh,
Performing
yeah,
Arts,
yeah.
and we were the Rebels, which I think
Yeah.
now we have since changed our name.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure. Well, it
that
doesn't
was
really
the,
fit for a union state
neo-Nazis
anyway.
But I was in the a cappella group there,
Oh,
and
no.
we were Rebel Yell.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Although Billy Idol was way
Did
before.
Did you do a Billy Idol version of
Yes.
Rebel Yell, a cappella? Oh, that would be...
Why didn't you bring this up yesterday?
I can't remember my vocal part, though.
She got married this weekend, and we started the show
gosh,
yesterday with Billy Idol's White Wedding.
Oh, yeah, that's so good. What a good song.
Oh, yeah.
I love Billy Idol. I think
He's like, he doesn't get enough credit.
He is aging. I follow him on Instagram, and he is aging incredibly well. I mean, he's slightly a shrunken version of himself. And when he smiles, you can see like his skin is almost transparent and wrinkly. But he looks pretty good.
A current picture of Billy Idol. By the way, then you talk about, see, this is a natural seg.
Okay.
We were just talking about what Trump would look like if he hadn't had all the dyeing and the hair plugging and the...
He would look like Billy Idol. That's my
He
prediction.
wishes. He looks fucking great.
What the problem with Trump though is if he slims down, he's going to look terrifyingly awful.
Yeah, I think there would be a lot of sagging skin, unfortunately.
As much as it pains me to say this,
Billy Idol
there was
is.
a
Look at
brief
that.
period.
He loves being a grandfather. I mean, maybe it's all for show, and maybe he's part of QAnon or something. But he is constantly hanging out with his, grandchildren and having them, sing, Rebel Yell and stuff like that.
I love it. I hate to say it. The last time I think I even saw him was in that cameo in Wedding Singer.
Oh yeah. He was
And
great.
that was a while ago.
He was great in that.
Yeah. But it's just. But he was.
I love, as I age, I love seeing people older than me age gracefully. Mm-hmm. Right? You know what's not to love?
I just look more and more like a lesbian.
There is a great...
Johnny Depp, by the way, has gone full lesbian. If you see pictures of Johnny Depp...
I see the court. We covered it relentlessly, the court thing, but he just kind of he looks like a Madame Tussauds thing.
Yeah.
I mean, because he has that hair pulled back, and there's a blonde streak.
It's puffy. I mean, there's a little too many fillers. I love the Rock Hall when they, whenever they do the induction ceremony and they pan to the audience, and it's just like it's a bunch of old lesbians because like every rock star, every male rock star looks like an aging lesbian, and then there's Melissa Etheridge or somebody out there anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
The Indigo Girls,
Steven
and
Tyler sitting
Indigo Girls, Queen. It's all the same.
Yeah.
And Steven Tyler does look like my aunt now.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Oh,
Why
that's
is
not
he
good.
so puffy?
Looks like Mickey Rourke.
Also, where does teeth go?
That's not Johnny Depp, is it?
No.
That's gonna be me in a year.
That's not him.
That's not great.
Yeah, no.
It's him?
No wonder
doing that
Amber Heard shit in his bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck is going on there?
Yeah.
There's a really great show on HBO, The Leftovers.
Yeah.
And in the last season, there is this old woman. I don't want to give anything away, but
I'm not gonna see it.
That show is like already over, so.
I know, I guess so.
I think it's from like
You
1892.
wore that in Halloween.
Yes, I was one of the cult members from The Guilty Remnant. But in this final season, it's this old woman in Australia, and they do like these incredible close-ups of her face. And it is just so wrinkled and, like you said, slightly translucent. But she is so beautiful. And the emotion you see on her face, it's stuck in my mind. And that was a really defining moment where I thought, as an actress, I don't want to get Botox. Because I want to age. I want to play the old women. They need people to play women who look their age.
To that end, I have to say, I was very surprised that I enjoyed. I think I was in the minority. The Ricky and Lucy movie.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause I figured there's no way Nicole Kidman, with all the crap that's right now, there's no way she could do Lucy. But I don't know. Maybe they use CGI on her face because her face don't move.
Maybe.
But,
It's great, yeah. Like her forehead, there's no detectable movement there. It's like they have like an earthquake detector, a Richter scale on her forehead, and there's been no mobility for like 30 years.
And what's the guys that played Ricky? And I love this is the world we live in. He got crap because he wasn't Cuban. He's Spanish, but he couldn't play.
Was it Javier Bardem?
Yes, and our own Brad Morse, buddy of mine, great actor who's on the show a lot. He doesn't do impressions when he was on Second City, but he did one. He did Javier Bardem. He's like, I'm butchering it, but he's like, I'm Javier Bardem. On this side, I am handsome. On this, I am hideous. And it's very true. If he has an angle where he looks fucked up.
What do you think as an actress about the kind of commandeer or monitoring of people playing against racial or ethnic type? Because I'm half Italian and half Irish, and I remember the first time I saw The Godfather, it was very confusing because like Alex Rocco rather plays Mo Green. Alex Rocco is an Italian playing a Jewish casino owner. But then Abe Vigoda, who is Jewish, is playing one of the main mobsters, and I didn't know what to think. And then, I was watching F Troop in reruns, and all of the Indians, the Hakawi Indians, are all either Jewish or Italian.
Oh, sure.
But they're playing Native American. And it seemed to me like maybe this is a good thing, but.
James Caan, he was one of the brothers.
Yeah.
I always say beggars can't be choosers, and I will play whatever anyone wants me to play.
It's a little bit my attitude in Port Authority.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? What no one really thinks about when they go for this like real representation and casting people who are what the character is the poor casting directors who need to find that needle in a haystack. Because not only is it just finding someone who meets all the qualifications, but then having them be a talented actor at the same time. You know, representation is wonderful. However, you also need someone with experience, someone who's an expert, someone who has the chops to tell the story well and make sure that the story reaches people so the representation affects an audience.
You know who's the largest or smallest minority, really, when you think about it in the United States? Fucking redheads. And I don't see one of them protesting the casting of The Little Mermaid. She's African American in the live action.
Well, are we just
does she have redhead then?
They gave her red hair.
community?
Yeah. I don't think that.
Well, you know, there are those moments like, and I'm thinking now back to, say, Lawrence of Arabia, where Alec Guinness plays like Prince Faisal or King Faisal at the end of Saudi Arabia. And he's got blackface or brown face on, and he's a shitty, like, come on, you know. But then again, who is it? Oh God, who plays the Turkish? I think it's Turkish. Anthony Quinn plays everybody. He was Mexican and Irish, and the only two things he never played in his career were like Mexican and Irish.
I didn't know that.
Didn't we
show a clip of that recently on the show? Or
he's like an all-purpose ethnic, you know.
Yeah.
But then who was? Oh God, what's his name? He was married to Rosemary Clooney for a while, and he played Toulouse-Lautrec. He's Puerto Rican. God, I feel like I'm playing 21 Questions here, and I'm just having a senior moment. He played Cyrano de Bergerac. He's very highly regarded. Jose Ferrer.
I don't know anything about
is like an evil Turk or Arab who rapes Peter O'Toole.
Oh boy!
In a scene, so like that whole movie, it's impersonations.
I forgot about that scene.
And then Omar Sharif actually gets to play, you know, a Middle Easterner, an Arab. He's, I think, Egyptian.
He did that in Dr. Zhivago, but then I got to tell you.
Yeah, but then he's Dr. Zhivago, right? And he's like, you know, he's not really passing as Russian.
Okay.
He plays a German in Night of the Generals, where he plays.
Was way ahead of his time.
Yeah. He's
wow. He was like
very
Hamilton.
confusing.
He was one-man Hamilton. Almost as far as his casting things were concerned.
I don't know, but I mean, I find it, you know, ridiculous when, you know, people are still doing blackface for like Othello or something like that. But in another way, maybe it's, maintaining what was going on during Shakespeare's time may also matter on some level. I don't know, you know, because the role of Othello is actually played by a white person in blackface, and that means something. I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's part of the
problem. If they go that route, and I'm sure that sometimes in the Globe Theatre in London maybe they do, but then that would mean all the female parts would have to be played by dudes as well, and that would take me out of it.
It's sort of like if we're going for authentic, all right, no one can use the restrooms.
Yeah.
Groundlings are all shitting on each other. Yeah.
Well, and then there's the curious case of Linda Hunt, who won an Academy Award for the Year of Living Dangerously, where she plays a short, or not a short person, but a normal-sized person who just happens to be very short and is a man. So she's and is Asian or is like Indonesian.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's.
After an exhaustive search, they could not find a Vietnamese man that was good enough to play a Vietnamese man, so they went with a short Jewish woman.
Right.
That I'm sure would do well now. Yeah.
I don't know.
Is she still alive? She's another one of those that looks 80 or 60. I wouldn't be able to tell you one way or the other.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Once you start with those, you can't stop.
I know already.
Slow motion.
Focus.
I'll pass along his. He just did the one that we're showcasing currently is the Bill and Joe as one. That's right in front of her right there.
This guy.
This one will.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Well, you know, speaking of casting.
Please make this a good segue.
This is a down date, you guys. So maybe if we could get our down date graphic.
So down date is like an update, but it's a bummer.
I don't want Bill's face in front of me.
I like it. I've never felt more pretty.
Can you turn it so it's not Bill?
Well, that's the hard part. Now you can't unsee.
I love Bill Ann.
Morphing.
Bill Ann is everyone's dream girl.
All right, so on this show, a down date is like an update, but depressing.
Okay.
I know one day it's got to come down. Then she said, what goes around sure comes around.
Now, you missed it. Last week, I did an incredible impression of Elizabeth Holmes.
It was actually pretty good.
After we learned that Jennifer Lawrence no longer wanted to play her in the Ryan Murphy. Was it a Ryan Murphy? No, not Ryan Murphy. Now I can't remember the guy's name. But in a movie that they are doing about Elizabeth Holmes and her Theranos company.
If I may,
Yes.
can you read the article as Elizabeth Holmes?
Oh. I can try.
See, not bad.
Elizabeth Holmes and Sam Bankman-Fried. How Wonderkins go wild.
Sounds like a dorky 12-year-old boy.
Now, basically, this article from Fox Business, it's basically all just to promote executive coaching, but I think there's a point here. One business leader and authority on executive coaching says the fluid nature.
What is the ad? Yeah, that's.
I don't know.
That's not Elizabeth Holmes.
Okay.
If so, then
Or
you're
Sam Bankman-Fried,
miscast.
That's also not Elizabeth Holmes, nor me, though it could be. The fluid nature of technology startups, along with the inexperience of young entrepreneurs, increases the risk of bad decision making. It's lonely at the top, especially for leaders today who are facing a pile-on of changes in a rapidly changing environment. Challenges in a rapidly changing environment. This leaves little time for young leaders who are learning in real time to actually step back and reflect on the decisions they are making. What it comes down to is power. The reality is anyone in any occupation has the opportunity to bend or break the rules. The difference is when you're talking about someone in a position of power or leadership in the public eye, the impact of bad actors is much broader and more destructive. Elizabeth Holmes was recently sentenced to 135 months in prison following her conviction on 4 counts of wire fraud and conspiracy in January. Bankman-Fried has been accused of secretly using $10 billion in customer funds to prop up his trading business. At least $1 billion in client funds are thought to be missing. Now, I find it difficult to even, just take $20 out of my now husband's change drawer.
Oh, that'll change.
How?
Been married a week.
Not even.
How can someone, especially a young person,
Especially.
get away with it?
Yeah. Okay, that I thought you were going to go like, how could they do that? They're so idealistic.
Yeah, I was
Like,
gonna say, it's
how did they get away with it? Well, the short answer, and I think this is pretty good, is that they didn't get away with it. I mean, when you go back and Reason, I work at Reason, which Bill mentioned, Reason.com. Please go there, check it out, and check out our podcast and all that. But we covered the Theranos stuff for a long time and pretty early on. And what happened, like, it is classic when you look at, people want a certain kind of founder, right? Like they want a certain kind of celebrity, entrepreneur, blah, blah, blah. And it's like she was from Central Casting. Because she's the Stanford dropout. She's kind of good looking. She talks like Bill Gates. She talks about changing the world. It's not like, I'm going to make $1 billion. It's like, I'm going to save people from having to get, pinpricks for blood tests and stuff. And then gets this massive multimedia tongue bath without any critical pushback. And then you start looking, the company was private. All of the people who were on her board had no understanding of the industry that they were actually repping or doing work with. Like, it was giving off so many red flags. It's, it's like a fucking, I'm trying to come up with a shitty soccer metaphor. It's like a Diego Maradona. Yeah, it's like Freehold versus Modern Day, circa 1985 in soccer. And the same thing with Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX, a crypto exchange which is new, which has got only positive stuff, where there was no track record at all. All of the press was about how Sam Bankman-Fried is a genius and is so young. Like, who fucking cares? Like, if you're an investor or a customer, you don't care the age of the person serving you something. You want the product to be good. So when you're focusing on that, you're taking your eye off, what is essential. But then it was all about effective altruism. It was all about how, like, he's a billionaire who's giving away money and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we at Reason, and it's up on our YouTube channel as well as at Reason.com, we did this great interview with Jesse Powell, who's the CEO and founder of Kraken, the third largest crypto exchange in the U.S., which has been around for a decade. And he walked through all of the ways that even people outside the crypto industry should have been thinking something is fishy with FTX. So that's, to me, to go to that point, is what's good is that frauds generally don't get away with it for all that long. And this is one of the benefits of capitalism and of capital markets, which is that Theranos couldn't go public because if it went public, the types of information it would have had to have given out to investors, people would have been like, screw this. Same thing, something similar happened with Enron. Enron, which is kind of the Watergate of these things. When Enron started tanking in the early aughts, the markets had picked up on it, and the stock price of Enron was going down for like 8 months before it imploded, because people were like, they're not giving us the information that would be necessary for us to validate or verify that what they say is happening is really happening. Interesting. And I think with FTX, it is really bad. Like what happened here is really bad, and it is classic fraud. It has nothing specific to do with crypto. This is just a thing of where a guy gets a company, gets a ton of people to invest in it in a service, and then starts using the money for other stuff. So it's like Bernie Madoff. There are multiple versions of this. It's a Ponzi scheme. For those of us who are Italian, Ponzi was an Italian.
Actual person.
Italian-American, yeah, and so like we have that going for us. But, where you're kind of defrauding people. So it's not crypto-specific, although that's what a lot of the conversation will be because people don't understand crypto. But when you look at any time you see a wunderkind come up and they're like, oh, this person is doing so much, they're saving the world, they're helping to, clean the oil spills out of baby ducks and baby seals and stuff like that. You got to pay attention to, like, go back and ask, like, what is their business and are they delivering on it?
Well, yeah, it's moving forward, are we ever going to trust, like, young CEOs again?
Yeah, I think, somebody like Jesse Powell, I don't know how old he is, but he's not like over 40, I don't think. And, this is where transparency rules. Transparency rules now more than ever because whether you like it or not, everybody's going to find out your shit, particularly in a business and things like that. So, I think, there's a lot of good young entrepreneurs out there. And they are, the best ones are showing their math as they're going about their business. And that's every reason to trust them.
At this point, I guess they have no choice. Well, speaking of a young person who, all right, now my segues are sucking. A young famous person who's poor.
Bad segue.
Milo Yiannopoulos, remember him? Mm-hmm. New best buddy with Kanye West, everyone. Kanye was spotted with the alt-right political commentator this week, last week, despite the current controversy surrounding the embattled rapper and Milo's own fall from grace roughly 5 years ago. In the wake of Kanye's anti-Semitic remarks that cost him billions of dollars, in contracts with brands like Adidas, Balenciaga, I can't pronounce that, and Vogue, the 45-year-old rapper, hate the fact that he's younger than me, and fashion designer was seen partying with Milo in Los Angeles on Thursday night. Kanye, alongside Milo and an unidentified woman, was photographed sipping champagne outside the Beverly Hills Hotel. Oh, Milo was so in his element, wearing his Balenciaga and Adidas collection, again, after being thrown from both of them. More surprising was Kanye's decision to hang with the likes of Milo, who came under fire in February 2017 for a series of comments he made regarding sex, pedophilia, and age of consent. I always felt like he said a lot more controversial stuff than that pedophilia thing.
Hey, it's a grab bag.
That was just sort of like, I think that was a little misinterpreted. Milo has since fallen into obscurity and has most recently signed on to become an unpaid intern for Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oy, how the mighty have fallen. Was he mighty? I don't know. Here's a quick clip of Milo on the one time he was on our show, and I don't know if you recall this, he was on all the pills. Do you remember that? He came in just.
It was weird.
I think at this point he's come down a little bit, but he was. I think he had a late night and decided that.
Alex Jones. Can you imagine what is on Alex Jones's phone? Imagine what's on any of our phones. I look up
trans porn.
I look up.
Yeah, all right, guilty. But I would not protest it as badly as he did. I don't know. It's the lie made me think something else.
I think that he sometimes
likes to have sex
rushes around for an answer because even Alex, despite everything he says, sometimes doesn't. And I'm the same. I have not always been delighted with my reaction to the new wave of bullshit attacks. Sometimes I take the bait a little, right? And if you get flustered because you're off guard, sometimes your rational brain doesn't kick in and it doesn't say, calm. Have a smile on your face. Here's what we do in these circumstances. Sometimes you're just like, no, let me explain. Because we're human beings, and I think that's probably what happened there. Because it is embarrassing, and his listeners probably would be amused to know if he really was into that kind of thing. Because, but I can tell you, as somebody with impeccable gaydar, he's one of the most heterosexual men I've ever met.
Oh yeah, because
What about me?
Said that I thought Alex Jones.
No, thank you.
There's the kicker.
Hang on.
Bill, did you
I like
have carpal tunnel syndrome back
This
then?
video
broke my
reminded me
hand,
of
and I hadn't gotten a
an
cast
episode
yet.
of The Office.
That was about it. Like, I guess you are the company. See, the thing with Milo is I've always found him very engaging and very entertaining. Sort of a prick, but I don't know what this says of Milo, what it says of Kanye. Can any
It's stunt. It's all stunts. It's shock and awe. It's headline grabbing. It's all of that. So I'm not surprised. Yeah.
we don't have enough
I
time.
don't see what's in it for Kanye.
I think Kanye's a little bit like Trump, where if you support Kanye, he loves you. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what your background is. And we don't have enough time to get to it. But
I found Milo. I mean, I never was particularly taken by him, but he did that. Something Dangerous douchebag tour or something like that, where he went to college campuses.
Yeah.
And when he was finally given a platform to speak, and in his book, he really had nothing to say.
Yeah.
Like he would make fun of women, because he's play acting at being like a misogynistic homosexualist. But it was empty. There's nothing there. Although I also found it kind of interesting that the conservative movement kicked him out when he made the mistake of saying that, that gay men and, adolescent teens or young, late teens, that's not always a bad thing. That's why the right turned on him, is because he said that, it is not uncommon for, an older teen and a man to hook up. And it was that. That seemed to be a rare moment of honesty for him.
Yeah.
And then the right was like, oh, you're a pedophile.
Yeah.
Or something,
And I guess he's at least conned Marjorie into getting him into her camp. But
she's awful, by the way.
Well, yeah, of course. And
I hope
that
he's
makes
just
me
getting her coffee, as an unpaid intern. I hope it really is just all the crap that interns.
Were you ever an intern?
No, but I would love to play one on TV.
Oh boy!
Okay.
It all just
For
goes
anyone
back to
who's
the casting.
watching.
Yeah.
A very advanced, late in life intern. I think.
Well, Robert De Niro did it. I understand he didn't get paid for that either. He actually interned in the movie because he's a method actor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You'll love that one because Anne Hathaway's in it. Yeah.
Is Anne Hathaway is she living the life that you want, and so you hate her?
No, I just think that she's a very self-conscious actor.
Yeah.
I think when you watch her performances, you can see that she's acting, as strange as that sounds.
Who's your favorite actor of kind of your cohort?
She doesn't like anyone.
No,
it's
no, no,
all
no,
she.
that's
Any
not
successful
true.
woman she hates.
I love Carrie Coon.
I don't know who
Speaking
that
of The
is.
Leftovers.
Yeah.
She was also in Fargo on TV. She's also done Broadway. She's married to Tracy Letts. She's great. I don't know. I also really like a lot of male actors, but.
Yeah, there you go. That goes to
Yeah.
the theater. Well, that's why they put Jennifer Lawrence in the movie that was made into the book, because she hates. In fact, we can even show. We got to take off, but we can even show the fuck Jennifer Lawrence graphic. But that Jennifer Lawrence is her number one girl that she hates.
Really?
Which I never got. I think that she is a national treasure. but
It's just I could never play a Midwestern woman. I don't have the face.
she
What are you talking about? Have you ever been to the Midwest? They have all types of people in the
Really?
Midwest.
Thank you.
Yeah, and particularly
offensive to me.
people of, kind of Central European derivation. I mean, there's like the whole Polish, Czech, Hungarian
people.
communities all over the Midwest.
Okay. All right. That makes me feel better.
Chicago is silly with people that have giant Ukrainian doll eyes like yourself.
Yeah.
So you would fit right in.
And names with more, where there are not enough vowels to stuff in between the Z's and the C's and the Q's and all that.
There was, for a time, no longer, that there were more Polish people off the boat in Chicago than Warsaw. I don't think that is the case anymore, but yeah, you'd be just fine.
All right, J-Law, I'm coming for your jobs.
Coming for jobs. Thank you so much. Let's please do it again. We would love to have you back. But before we let you go, any plugs, promotions?
Yeah, the Reason Speakeasy on Thursday, December 12th at the Blue Building at 222 East 46th Street, featuring Caitlin Bailey of Old Pros. Go to reason.com/events. It's a great evening. We always get a great crowd. There's hangout time before and after. And Caitlin Bailey is just a fascinating human being, talking about not just decriminalizing sex work, but destigmatizing it, which makes for really fascinating conversation.
And I do love that venue. It's such a cool building. And the best part, 2 blocks from my apartment.
That's why you.
And it's just...